I turned around, you would be for me, you'd be on the right side.
Hi,
It's
everybody.
good
We're
evening,
live. We're
everybody.
live. Hi. So, want to say hi, just to bring everybody up to speed. Everybody just want to say hi and welcome to everybody for us. Jean-Luc, please.
Of course. I love how he starts with I want to bring everybody up to speed. Jean-Luc, say something. That's not you bringing people up to speed.
That's
Anyways, good
prompt.
evening, everybody. Happy Sunday. We are finally back. We are here live on a Sunday. Tonight's a special edition. We're going to be talking to you guys about our trip to the West Coast when we drove from Toronto to Tofino in 16 days. Well, actually, we did not drive. Nick did all the driving, but we're going to go through that trip with all of you this evening. But prior to that, we're going to make some announcements. We're going to talk about what's been going on with Nick and I and the busy weekend we had this weekend ourselves.
Yeah. So, first things first, I want to show you guys. Some of you guys have already heard about it, but our cookbook came out yesterday. So our first ever cookbook with 30 of our recipes. And so that's sorry, I can hear myself. That's available right now on our website. It's also available on our shop for those who want the PDF. The PDF is also available right now. So you just go to our website, go to the Amazon section to get the book, or you can actually just go to Amazon and just search for Jean-Luc and Nick, and it pops up. It's kind of cool. I did it earlier, and I was like, oh, look, I pop up. So you can actually do that and go search for it on it right there. I'm actually curious, is anybody who's bought one? Like if you're watching on here live right now, if you guys are somewhere else in terms of, on Facebook, if you're watching this later, just comment and let us know if you can, if you if you guys got the cookbook. The Kickstart book is starting is reaching completion. Last night I submitted it the other day. It came back last night saying that the Kickstart book still had one problem, so I had to fix it and submit it again. So hopefully tomorrow morning it'll be ready and it'll be available on
It was a
Amazon.
checkbox.
I missed a checkbox
It was a
apparently,
checkbox.
so I resubmitted with that checkbox clicked. And so now I'm waiting again. So once it's available, tomorrow morning, if you wake up and you feel like searching for me, just go to Amazon and search for Start, and you'll see if it's there. Winter 2025. The book is 180 pages long. And a lot of you may be like, wow, that's a lot of pages. Well, there's, of course, your tracking. It's included again in the Kickstart book. There's also a new weekly commitment tracking page. There's also an exercise on how to find your commitment. There's actually an almost 20-page section that walks you through on how to find the right commitments for you with instructions on how to get there. There's also a lot of information in the book. So for those of you wondering how to find anything for Kickstart, it's all in there. There's a new thing coming for Kickstart in January called Daily Tasks. I've been liking, so I asked today in the group asking, what do you guys like about Kickstart in January for those of you who've been exploring, the dashboard, because the dashboard, everything's up. You guys can go to the website right now and go to jeanlucandnick.com/dashboard, and you can export, you can see everything that's coming up. So you can prepare yourself for January. So daily tasks, daily activity that you guys are going to be able to join in. We're going to be doing recipes, live shows. There's guests coming. There's even special guests. We actually had too many guests. We actually added Monday sessions as well for certain weeks. For those of you who, there's other topics that we want to touch. And so it's going to be a fun January. And so, like I said, Kickstart comes out soon, and you guys will be the first to know once the book is available. Other announcements is this week we are going to be doing STEP again. Our plan is to do basic all week. We've also decided not to cancel any classes because we realized that, back to who we are as people, if we don't work out in the morning, we don't work out. That's basically been the story of our life. Whenever we try to, be on a weight loss or wellness journey and we try to lose weight, we tend to, if our workouts are at night, we tend to skip them. But if in the morning, we get up and do them. So we're going to try to do all our workouts this week, start doing Step Basic for all of you. So if you want to join us, just go to our website to the Step section and just sign up and register there. And that's the main announcements. We're also doing a walk next June. So on June 7th next year, we're doing the Scotiabank, Stoppers Dog Mart Run for Women. We did it last year. We're doing it again this year. So if you want to join our team, just go check the website. You can actually look for you can actually look at Walk for Women with Jean-Luc and Nick. If you look for that team, you can actually join us. We're about 6 or 7 people already now, so that's um, one of the things coming up.
6 or 7, not 67, just to make sure people heard that correctly.
So tonight's session is about our West Coast trip. Hello?
Yes, I was reading the question that Susan said. Did you see what other things come up on Amazon when you search Jean-Luc and Nick? I assume your book are just the first ones.
Didn't see what else comes up. I was actually just looking for the cookbook, so no, I did not see what else comes up. But maybe I don't know what else would come up. I'd have to go check.
I'm gonna go look right now just because I'm curious.
So tonight's session is about our West Coast trip. As many of you know, and we talked about at the beginning of the session tonight, we went on a West Coast trip starting in September of this year. We left, August of this year, and we drove, like Jean-Luc said, from Toronto all the way to Tofino. We've had a lot of people ask us, why did we do it a certain way? First question we get asked a lot is, why did we rent a car and, not just drive our own vehicle to there and back? So one of the reasons we had to do it in the amount of time is I only have a certain amount of vacation at work. In order for me to enjoy everything that we wanted to do on the trip, I knew that I couldn't waste the time of driving back for another week with the vacation I have at work. So we had to find another plan. So that was the first thing that we realized. Like, we needed to rent a car. So our original plan was Jean-Luc and I were going to drive from here to the West Coast. We had a lot of people who wanted to visit on the way. We had promised years ago that we wanted to go visit Saskatchewan and visit people in Regina and Saskatoon and everywhere along the way. So we said we're going to do this. But then it came to the point where, like, well, if I do this trip, I have to invite my mom because growing up, one of the things that my mom always wanted to do, my mom, myself, my dad, and my sister were supposed to go on a cross Canada driving trip. It was always a dream of hers, and it never happened. And so I was like, if I go on this trip and I don't at least ask my mom, she's going to kill me or disown me, and you'll never see her on live again. She's here tonight, so she came. And then what happened is after we invited my mom, we realized, we need someone to come along with us on this trip. We can't just go the three of us because, and Jean-Luc, you'll fill in this. You tell the story. Well, how's Lynn here?
Well, because I said we're gonna have to have. We both agreed upon saying it's not fair that Nick and I have each other, and if Nick and I want to go do something, then we need to leave Mom alone, and we don't want to leave Mom alone. Like, we just, it just didn't seem right. We also wanted to have our alone time whenever we wanted to have some alone time.
They need a mommy sitter.
So we wanted a mommy sitter, and when we were in Mexico, was it Mexico? Yeah.
Dominican.
Yeah, Dominican.
Yeah, when we were in the Dominican, we saw Lynn and Lisette, and we knew they got along well, and they had done Rustic Mamas together, but then we were seeing them more and more, and I'm like, hun.
They got along way too well.
I'm like, hun, we need to get Lynn coming to the West Coast with us because she would be the perfect accompaniment. She'd be the perfect guest for your mom.
And we like her too. And so that's how Lynn was added to the trip. So that's how the whole thing came about. So for a lot of people are wondering, like, why the whole drive and fly back. Now, mind you, renting a vehicle like we did is expensive. It's not cheap. It was very expensive to rent a vehicle and drop it off. There's actually an additional fee just to drop off. And so it wasn't cheap. But the thing is that, again, it was that 1 week of vacation that I can't lose because, again, I get free. And so to me, that was worth it. And to be honest, we will be all four of us honest, and my mom and Lynn will attest to this. Really glad we didn't drive back.
Yeah.
I refused to drive back. It wasn't even a question. As soon as we said the trip, I told Nick, I said, the only way we should do this trip is if we fly home. Because I'll be honest, we knew we were going to be doing so many things on the way there. On the way back, we would have been absolutely exhausted, and the trip would have been 12 times longer because we would have just wanted to get home by that time. And we were already exhausted, and we were still seeing things by the end of the trip. So
we definitely made my mom and Lynn They were tired by the end, let's just say.
Some
So we
days,
pooped them
some
out.
nights.
We pooped them out. My mom even said at one point, I'm so tired of Jean-Luc filming us and taking pictures. It's just so tired of it. In some videos, you'll actually notice my mom is very grumpy in some of the videos.
Oh,
It's not a happy camper.
I cut out a lot of the grumpiest parts because I was like, oh my God, she'll kill me if I put that video in there.
But my mom now appreciates it because, like for the trip, she now has full
It
video.
was annoying. It was annoying after a while.
Yeah.
17 days to getting recorded. Hey, come on.
So how do
trip?
So how did I plan? How did I come up with this split trip? So I am the one who came up with this trip. A lot of people ask, who helped you? How did it all come about? I came up with this trip. What I did is I literally Googled what are the places you need to see in Canada when driving from Toronto to Vancouver. And I looked at every single location I could think of that I came up, and I wrote down on a Google Doc all the places that I could find that were interesting to visit in Canada on the West Coast. I then plotted out a map, and I was looking, okay, where can I get stuff along the way that include as much stuff as possible? Originally, our trip at one point, so we'll talk about the trip soon. We were supposed to go to Jasper, because you all know Jasper had a fire. So we did have to do a last minute switch on our trip. So instead of going from Banff and Lake Louise to Jasper and then to Coquitlam, we went to Kelowna and instead of going to Banff, Jasper. But we know now, and we'll talk about this along the discussion, we are going back to Alberta in BC. Jean-Luc and I have already decided that, but more on that later. Okay, so we started the trip by leaving Toronto. We got the car at the airport. Another little tidbit, if you want to rent a car to drop off from different locations across Canada, it has to be picked up at an airport and dropped off at an airport. So that's another thing that we had to. So if you live in Sudbury, Ontario, and you don't have a location you can do that, you have to go to a city like Toronto or Montreal or a major city that has that ability. You have to check locally if that's something that's available for you in the city that you're in. Just a little because some of you might be like, oh, I want to do that. I want to get my own car, but then you're in a.
And please note that not all car rental companies are located in every city in Canada. There are some car companies that do not exist in certain places. So just keep an eye on that. It's just smart to know.
Because originally my mom was supposed to be an additional driver on our reservation, but we found out when we picked up the car that she needed to be there to sign. So they're like, oh, don't worry. When you're driving, just stop at another location along the way.
There was one in the Sioux, but we were there on the Saturday and they were closed on weekends.
Then in Winnipeg, we went to a location and it didn't exist anymore. They were closed. Then at that point, I'm like, well, we're already halfway there. I might as well just keep driving. And so I drove the entire distance.
The funny thing is, though, I was already as a secondary driver on the vehicle when we had first got there. So I could have just signed and been one, but we removed my name. So by that point, we were like, okay, well, I guess Nick's going to be the only driver.
And I won't lie, it was kind of almost like by the end, it was almost like a contest with myself. Like I told everyone when we got to Tofino and I reached the end, I was like, oh my God, I literally drove from Toronto all the way to the edge of Canada. Like I literally drove the entire 6,005. Like we had a total because the car was a rental. So we had the full exact mileage when I got the reservation. Like I put Ron in the reservation, they gave me the exact mileage I drove the entire time. And it was cool to have that like little, and plus, I drive really well and fast, and I got everyone everywhere they needed to go, and we never got lost.
He drives fast.
He's a good driver. He's a fast driver, and we were okay, except once.
Yes, I know. One time I scared them all.
He scares us.
Yeah,
but we made it all there. We made
it. And I was glad that I didn't drive because after Nick driving, I'm a fast driver, but not as he is. So he wouldn't be mad at me because I was not driving fast enough.
Definitely.
And more on fast driving in a bit. You'll hear more about that during our discussion of our trip.
So at that point, we now had the vehicle. Lynn met us here. We jumped in the car and we headed up north to Sudbury. Our original plan was once we got to Sudbury, we were spending the night in Sudbury. And then the following day, originally, we were supposed to go to Sault Ste. Marie and spend weekend with some friends, the cottage that we go to every year, either in the summer or at Thanksgiving. They're really good friends of Lisette's and Nick's dad. And we've become good friends, Rick and Rose. But we found out right before that they had been really, really sick. They had the flu and they just didn't want to take any chances. So we said, let's ixnay that part. So it actually got us on the road a little bit faster in a sense because we no longer had to go to the zoo. So we left Sudbury on the Sunday morning.
Saturday.
Saturday morning. You're right. Saturday morning, we went to have breakfast with Linda Falardeau and then our niece and nephew and my sister-in-law. And so we did that and off we went. Where did we go first, huh?
Wawa.
So we went to Wawa.
We did more things before Wawa.
So I will start sharing now some of the images that we've taken to show you guys some of the things we've done along the way. So the first thing I want to show you guys, sorry, I have to open the right place, is right here. So first thing we did on the way to Wawa is we actually went to the Agawa pictograph. So with those who don't know what that is, it's a place where you can actually walk down to Lake Superior, and when you get to the bottom, these are out of order the way they look right now, but if you when you get to the bottom, there's actually a rock wall, and you can actually see on it some pictographs. You can see right here, there was one that I saw. And the hike was hard, right, Mom and Lynn?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you make
The
a full
fall that they
screen?
went to, I was scared. See that? I was scared for them. We were praying.
We didn't go.
We were
We didn't
praying,
go.
please
Well,
don't let them fall.
yeah, we
Mm,
didn't
my
go where
mom's
the
right
rock
there.
was. Like really, we
My
stopped.
mom's right there.
Yeah.
Mom, you're right there.
And look, show them where the rope is. There's a rope down there
Right
just
there.
in case you fall so you could climb back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll climb
And
back up.
there's a warning. I'll show you guys. There's even a warning when you're going on this walk at the beginning. I don't remember where it is. The problem with these are not the that right here. There's a warning that says it's not a picture. It actually says warning. You know, you can actually get hurt, so be careful on this walk. It was a great way to start. Let's just say my mom and Lynn got to experience that. Then we made it to Wawa. We actually got to see the Wawa goose. Of course, you have to go to see the Wawa goose when you're there. And then after that, we met a gentleman at the Wawa goose who said, "Hey, did you guys know about these crazy waterfalls that are nearby?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "They're called the Scenic High Falls." And so we went, and this is a picture of what they look like. They were tremendous. They were amazing waterfalls.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. We have a video on TikTok with 584,000 views of this waterfall.
And what's cool is that what's going to happen is I'm still writing a blog. Like I'm still going to be working on a blog after this. So when I write the blog, I will have all these photos as well as the videos in correct order. So you'll be able to see everything that we have from the trip. And the reason I'm doing it is because I want to encourage people to travel in Canada. It was really a cool trip for the four of us. And so it's something that I definitely want other people to experience, just because it was a unique experience. It was something that even my mom said at one point, even Jean-Luc, it's like driving there was a whole unique way of doing it, not having to fly.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself, hon.
Driving there was what made the trip so special, I think it was. Because there was things that we never would have saw if we hadn't actually been in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And we wouldn't have witnessed things. And not only that, the conversations we had in the car. I know that sounds silly, but that was part of the fun that this trip was. Is the four of us in the car were a really good mesh from the start, which was really, really fun.
The silly thing they made us do, right, Lynn?
Yeah, that was on the side where the pictographs are. I wanted you to go back to the pictograph picture real quick, hon, because I want you to circle around it so people can actually see it because it was so quick. There you go. That's a good picture right there. Do you see that? That is like from thousands of years, long time ago. And if you kept going around the rock, there was more apparently. So we did not dare to go any further. No, I was not willing to fall in. So
then we got to Wawa. Our hotel in Wawa was
was good. It was good.
We were in the new part.
Yeah, thank God.
Nick and I had to go get ice in the older part of the hotel, and I'm telling you, it felt like we were in a horror movie.
Yes,
I'm not gonna lie, it was a little scary.
Yep.
It was a little scary.
Then when I found out it's going to the new section, I go, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah. We also went to dinner. We went to a place in Wawa.
It's right there.
Yeah, it's right here.
Philly Wawa Ogies.
Yes, yes.
It was
It was
amazing.
so good. It was funny because we were walking by the beach and some kids were there. And we asked them, "What's the best place to eat in town?" And they're like, they said this hoagie place. They're like,
Oh
"Okay,
my
let's go."
God.
It was so good. So if you're ever driving by Wawa, go there. It was delicious.
Yeah, very, very good. And it's really funny because later on that evening, Nick and I went back out, and Hawawa is a ghost town at night. There's barely anybody in the streets. So the kid starts walking back again. And I turned to Nick and I said, I think that was the kid. So I was like, thanks, guys. We went to I'm like, you're the kid that told us to go there, right? He's like, yeah, that was me. I'm like, thanks. He's like, I told you so. It's a cute kid.
Lebanese food like chihuahua.
Oh,
It's
and
funny
then
that they call it hoagie, but it's
well, they had a mixture of different things. I think,
I think they're famous for their shawarma.
So, and that hotel is where I got my big bruise that lasted the entire trip.
Yeah.
The hotel door slammed into my stomach, and I had this huge bruise along my side for the entire trip. It was fun. Yay! I'll never forget that hotel.
So the next
And the
day,
cute lady who thought Lisette and Mom and Lisette and Lynn were a couple.
Yeah.
that happened a lot though.
Yeah.
So the next day we took off from Wawa and we drove all the way to Thunder Bay. We did a lot of stops on the way. We stopped in Marathon. We went to actually in Marathon there was a Pebble Beach. There's a
that
picture
was
of this
cool.
right here. We walked down to Pebble Beach. We got to see. This is another picture of Pebble Beach right here. It was
Yes, that's
all rocks, pebbles.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it
you
was-
gotta watch how you walk though, but it's really cool.
Yeah, and
You
then we
can't just use the
also-
arrow to flick through pictures, huh?
They're not in order.
Okay.
So I have to select
Gotcha.
them.
That's all right.
The next place we went to was Agasalon River Gorge. There was actually a waterfall there. So let me see if I can find it right here. So there's another waterfall we went to. It was on the side here. We went to many waterfalls.
And it's so funny because people are like, "Oh, which one's the best?" I'll be honest, the Wawa, because it was right in your face, was the best. When you first saw it, was the one that hit you the hardest. But every single waterfall we saw was special in its own way because they were all so unique.
Well, yeah, they were all different. There was
Yeah, they were
none that was the
nothing.
same. Yeah.
We also stopped in Paris Bay. So we
It took us 25 minutes to take that picture because it was so windy. That sign would not stay.
We had to hold it.
And we also decided to lock Lynn up there while we were there.
Yeah. We were already fed up with Lynn, so we put her in jail. We're like, get it, you're done. You're done.
We also stopped in it's Nipigon.
Oh.
That was wicked.
It
it's
was scary.
Go ahead. It's a tower that you climb up, and then you get to see the view of the area. Let me see if I can find. Like I said, once the blog comes out, it'll all be in order. It'll be a lot easier to see in order. But so anyways, we saw some sights from there. We also stopped at Eagle Creek Canyon. It is the longest suspension bridge in Canada.
There's some echo behind you, Nick, when you talk.
Yeah, it's just because Jean-Luc's unmuted. Yes, if he's unmuted, I get echo.
Okay.
For some reason. So you can see my mom is on here. Lynn's at the end here. And then we also like the views from there were amazing. It was just insane to see. That's one of the suspension bridges right here. You can see in the distance, and the second one right there. Lynn, how was that?
I'm glad you took pictures because I didn't look down. I just looked straight ahead. That was the first time. And I went first, hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, she did it, but it was an amazing experience. If you ever get to do it, just go to on your way. It's on your way to Thunder Bay. There's other places on the way that we could have stopped. Like there's supposed to be supposed to be the tall giant man provincial park. There's one of there's like a boulders that look like a sleeping giant provincial park. We just didn't have the time. And what happens is that what I did is I listed a lot of stuff on our itinerary that I would edit every day. So what I did is I had the whole map out of every location. And if I realized that we didn't have time, or if I wanted to go somewhere more, I would just cross out locations that we just skipped. And so these are the ones that we ended up picking. We got to stop in where was this again, hun?
We need to
that was in, I can't think of the name of the place. It starts with a D, I thought.
Drumheller? No.
No.
No, not Drumheller.
No, Drumheller was the dinosaur.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right.
I don't remember right now. It's after Wawa.
It's out right after Wawa.
Yeah, it's after Wawa. Someone might have said it in chat already. But yeah, so that we stopped there as well. So like I said, it was just the views and what you saw while you were driving along Lake Superior. It was insane. It was a precursor to what we were coming up, because we had no clue what, you know, Alberta and BC were going to be at that point. But it was the first time for both Lynn and my mom to drive in that type of like grandiousness.
Yeah, because the furthest west I went was Wawa before, like driving.
But we had just seen all of that. We had seen mountains in Vegas, like we had said, in the summer, but it was not like this. It was a very different feeling of the mountains, because we weren't driving. We were in the bus or as a passenger. Now we were in a vehicle, and the things were, it was insane.
We did also the Kakabeka Falls.
But that was the next day.
The next day, you're jumping ahead, Mom.
Yeah, but
Slow down, lady.
No, but the funny part is, like, I learned something with Lynn when we went to Kakabeka Falls.
Well, then wait. That's not yet, though. We're not there yet.
I will forget, you know.
But we're gonna say Kakabeka Falls, so you won't forget. This is how it was in the car, people.
But the thing with that bridge there, because he said that was the longest bridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, oh, well, I thought the other ones were longer. So after that, it wasn't so bad. I mean, I was still shitting bricks, but it was not as bad.
Lynn, you did the tallest and the longest, so
yes.
You're done.
Yeah.
You're done. You
so
got
this was
done.
That was a pot that was on when we were crossing one of those suspension bridges. And people were throwing pennies. If you actually zoom in, all of that copper there, those are all pennies that people were throwing, trying to get into the pot.
Winnie the Pooh is in White River, everybody.
White River. Thank you, Donna. Thank you.
I knew we would get her answer.
Actually, a coworker of mine asked me as we were, like, when she knew we were driving, she's like, "Are you guys going?" Because she's a huge Winnie the Pooh fan. So I was able to get a video of that for her, and she was super happy about it, which was nice.
We also stopped by the Terry Fox Monument on the way. I'm trying to find it right now. We stopped on the way to Thunder Bay, and right here. We did stop at the Terry Fox Monument.
That was crazy.
And then
very powerful.
Yeah, very powerful. And then we arrived in Thunder Bay. We were staying at the Delta, and none of us have ever been to Thunder Bay, and we were quite surprised by how pretty their harbor is. It was a beautiful place.
It was gorgeous.
The weather was beautiful. One of the things that we're lucky on, and something that I'll share with all of you guys if you want to do this trip ever, doing it the weeks we did was amazing for a few reasons. Number one, the weather was perfect. We rarely got any rain on the entire trip. We got rained once in Saskatoon. That was the only time it rained on us the entire trip. We also got beautiful weather. It wasn't cold. It wasn't too hot. Yeah. And also, we got less crowds, because first week of September, most people are back in school. So a lot of the places we visited, we were able to go and not have to use huge lineups because there was less people around. The only time it was really busy is when we were in Banff and Lake Louise, is because it was the weekend. It was touristy, but it was also the weekend. It was a long weekend at that point. But once the weekend was actually done, the week after, there was nothing. Everything was free. Like, we were able to go everywhere with no lineup when we did.
And we were super lucky when we got there, because there was a Rib Fest happening. So there's a huge festival right on the riverfront, right at the arbor, that we got to walk around, and just it felt like they had rolled the red carpet out for us. We're like, wow, look at that. You know, and Lynn got to get her popcorn, and I got my ice cream, and so we were all happy.
My mom got hers too. We walked for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we walked. Yes, because there was no dairy-free ice cream at the carnival, so we decided to find a grocery store. Let's just say it wasn't that close. It was
wasn't that bad.
It was a trek with uphill.
Compared to the walk we did after.
With snowshoes.
So the next day we woke up at the hotel. We had breakfast. The breakfast was really good, actually, at that hotel.
Oh, it was gorgeous, and it was included.
Yeah, it was included. So it was really good. We all had different things. It was just really good and fresh. We then took off, and our first stop was at Kakabeka Falls. So, Mom,
what did you learn at Kakabeka Falls?
Okay, Lynn taking picture and everything, and then she get into the car and look at them. Oh, that's all it's looked like. because she take picture, she doesn't look at the falls.
Because she's scared, Mom.
So what Mom is trying to say is Lynn would never really look at the picture she was taking until she'd get back into the car and then go, "Oh wow, I now know what it looks like," because she was too afraid to look at what.
That changed by the end. She opened her eyes and they've gone below by the end, so she's got better.
Yeah, I got better as I went.
Yeah, and then along the way we stopped in multiple places. We saw
Moose.
The moose.
Yeah, Max. This one was Max, right?
Max the moose.
Is this Mac or Max? It's one of them. I don't remember which one.
So we stopped on the way in Dryden. We also stopped in the center of Canada so that my mom and Lynn can take a nap.
That one is Max.
That one's Max? Okay,
yeah.
Max the moose. And then we then also, Kakavika Falls was beautiful, by the way. It's one of the most beautiful falls. It was big. It rivaled, Niagara Falls in terms of its like the bigness of it and how you can see it, and there's no crowds. That's another thing about these falls. It's not like Niagara where you have tons of people everywhere. There was literally almost no one there when we went. So we got the best pictures.
And don't get me wrong, Niagara Falls is beautiful, and we'll never say anything bad about it because it is gorgeous. But these places are not as big of a tourist trap, I want to say. They don't have all the attractions that Niagara Falls has because they have, you know what I mean? They have that whole street that is covered with like stores and restaurants. Well, this is a little less hectic in that sense.
Yeah.
We then arrived in Winnipeg.
Winnipeg!
We got to hang out with our friends Patricia and Sherry. We got to see Marie. We got to see Tanis. We got to see so many people.
Oh my God, it was crazy.
Tina,
yeah.
So we had a potluck where everybody came to Jerry's place.
There's a group picture there, right there.
I'm trying to find it. Where?
It's above near the chair where your mom and Lynn are sleeping. To the left.
Oh yeah,
there you go. There's a group picture.
So we had a potluck where everybody came out. We just got to have
Roxanne
and just got to hang out and chat and just got signed a few Kickstart books at the time.
Marie.
So it was a great time. We slept at Jerry's that night, and the next day we were off to our next location. One of the questions that we've been asked from other people who've been who've heard about this trip is, why did we decide to go so fast? Or not stay longer at certain locations? Like, why did we, we had people who asked, like, why didn't you do this while you were there? Why didn't you do? So our idea of this trip was, my mom is not going to do this trip again. So I wanted to show my mom as much as possible along the way. And so it was more of quantity, not quality this time. And so now that she's seen everything that she's seen, and same with Lynn and myself and Jean-Luc, now that we've seen, we know where we want to go back to now. We know what places we want to visit again. And so this allowed us to kind of, see all of Canada, but now some places we've seen, it's like, okay, we've been there, we probably won't go back right away. But some places like, for example, Banff and Lake Louise, we just barely touched the rim of what there was offered there. There's so many other parks and lakes and stuff that are in the area that we would love to go and see, but we just didn't have the time. So those are going to happen in the future.
It was just an aperçu.
Yeah, it was just like a little soupçon, a potpourri of Canada.
It was an aperitif. It was the appetizer trip.
Yep.
So on our drive from Manitoba to from Winnipeg to Regina, we actually stopped at a little town on the way called Wolseley. And here's Lynn playing with little gnomes.
Fairies. I guess she was tired of her two fairies in the car with her, so she wanted to find new ones.
We actually stopped for a picnic there for lunch because we decided to. I had found that there's an actual little bridge in this town. Yeah. It's made of like a fence material with wood, and it's actually at this town built this bridge hundreds of years ago because it was the connector downtown to the people living down here. This is a newer bridge. It's rebuilt this since then, but this bridge has been here ever since. It's called like the Iron Bridge or something like that. So it's in Wolseley.
It's shaky.
Yeah. So we
went
there.
It's not high, so I was okay with that one.
And then my mom had to use the bathroom. You want to share that story, Mom?
I don't remember.
The bathroom.
The bathroom.
Yes, the bathroom.
The Coke.
No, I don't remember exactly what happened.
Yeah, you have to buy.
You'll have to say it.
So my mom had to go to the bathroom. So we went to a restaurant and she needed to buy something. So she had to buy a Coke, and it kept switching back from Coke Diet Coke to bottles to cans to You want, hun? You want to?
I don't remember anymore, to be
Like,
honest with
yeah.
you. It was like Coke Zero, and there was a whole mess up. I don't remember. It was just funny. The lady thought we were crazy. The
Yeah, because
lady absolutely thought we were
he kept
crazy.
changing.
Yeah, so we had fun there. We made it to Regina. We got to hang out with Glenda and Janet. We went for a walk.
We went to dinner. That was a funny story. So we went to dinner, and there's a place called what's it called again? The
Western
place.
Pizza.
Western Pizza. So Nick had found the one that was close to our hotel. So we drive up to the pizza place. We go into the restaurant and we're like, yeah, we're here waiting for two friends of ours. And the lady's like, no one's here. We're like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, no one's here. We had gone to the wrong Western Pizza. They were already at the other one waiting for us. But it was funny. The food was awesome. If you ever get a chance to go have Western Pizza, do it. Their Caesar salad dressing was amazing. I still remember it. And the pizza was really good. And I think you had pasta. Didn't you have pasta? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Long walk.
But then we walked, yeah.
All the way around.
Yeah,
And then
right
Janet
down.
works for the government for the government, does she not? And so yeah, we walked around the park.
Legislation building.
The
Yeah,
legislator
they
building.
did a waterfront in front of the parliament because they want to get it there, right?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So Regina is the capital. And so what the people did back in the day, they were fighting. It was Regina and Saskatoon were debating on who would be the capital. And so in Regina, they decided to put a huge waterfront, a man-made waterfront, so that more people would say, oh, this is a prettier place. We have to have this as the capital of the province. And what they told us as well, that they built a bridge over the smallest amount of water just to make it pretty. There was no reason to build the bridge, but they built it anyways because they wanted it to have
a look. There was people with money over there.
Yes.
So we then the next day drove from Regina to Saskatoon, Regina to Saskatoon, and we got to stay at the beautiful Chateau.
Yeah, we saw the building and so that's so nice. It looked like a castle.
We didn't realize it was our hotel.
Yeah.
And so we stayed there. We had dinner that night at a cute little restaurant called Delish by Tish.
Yes, with Andra.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was so good. We also got to go to, on the way there, we decided to stop at Buffalo Head Provincial Park. It is the one stop that I wish could actually erase from the trip, because on the way there, I got my first speeding tickets ever.
And also we were there to go see some
bison
or buffalo, but there was none.
Didn't show up. Yeah. It's a very want stop. So
and the policeman that gave him his ticket, his name was
Jean-Luc.
Yeah, the police officer's name was Jean-Luc Leblanc.
Yeah,
I'll never forget.
So I've gotten my first speeding ticket. It slowed me down after.
Oh my God! And so that night we went to dinner. It was raining. Andra came and picked us up. We went to dinner. We had a great dinner. There's a group picture right there, hun, right beside the bus.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Yeah, perfect. It was a cute. Apparently this little diner it was like multiple things, and this was a vegan restaurant, if I'm not mistaken, as well. It was vegan, plant-based.
Yeah, it was good,
and it was delicious. But that night, Nick and I decided, hey, let's go out. Mom and Lynn were already in bed, and so Nick and I went on a 40-minute walk to the gay bar. And so we walk to the gay bar and we get there and it's 9 o'clock and it's empty. There's nobody there yet. So we're like, we're not staying out till midnight. So we turned around and came home. And then ended up going to this place, Cathedral Hall, for a snack and a drink. But it was beautiful. It was fun to walk around and it was really, really cool.
So that kind of ended that day. The next day we then drove to Calgary. Calgary was the drive to Calgary so a lot of people in Winnipeg were telling us, oh, wait till you drive through Saskatchewan. It's long and boring. And we're like, oh, we'll be fine. It's not going to be that bad. It's our first time. And I'll say, I wouldn't want to drive it again, but it was interesting driving the first time.
Once was enough.
Yeah, once was enough.
Yeah, it's a different view. Like,
yeah, it's a different view. We then made our way to, like I said, we went to Calgary. On the way, we stopped in Drumheller. We did go to the tallest dinosaur in the world, or Canada. Lynn had fun with some of the dinosaurs. We also got to see the shales, all the different layers of rock.
That was wicked.
We also got to go on another suspension bridge, an old mining bridge, over very dark, dirty water. As you can see.
The water was gross.
We saw so many different types of water.
And isn't this where we also saw the
hoodoos?
The hoodoos, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hoodoos were there as well.
So Drumheller was interesting. We also did a mining train ride.
Yeah.
That's where we met the little chipmunk.
Oh yeah.
Squirrel.
That was okay.
Yeah, that's the bridge. So it was a lot of fun. Like I said, it was flat. What was interesting for those of you who've never driven through Saskatchewan was or for those of you who never experienced this either, it was odd to be driving somewhere and to look in your rearview mirror constantly, like, oh, the mountain I drove down earlier is still there, and it hasn't gone away. 40 minutes later, it's still there. That was one of the weird things that we experienced on the trip. And the next day, that night, we got to an awesome hotel. It was the Applause by Click in Calgary by the hotel. It was an amazing hotel.
Really nice.
It was beautiful. It had an awesome rooftop patio. It was actually our favorite hotel on the entire trip, other than Matilda's. Because Matilda's was definitely our favorite place.
Yeah, that one was really good.
Yeah, Matilda's was okay. Wink, wink.
Dodge.
The next day was our Calgary day. We did the Calgary Tower. We got to do. We went to the Stampede grounds just to see, the Stampede. This is it right here. Well, we also went to a park. What's the name of that park? That we were allowed to take pictures.
The Storybook Park, because it's we were supposed to go have lunch in that. And we want to apologize because we did make a mistake when we went to Calgary. We didn't even think about it because we were on vacation. So we're like, let's plan a thing during the middle of the day where nobody could really join us, not thinking where we could have done it in an evening or a little bit later. So that way everybody could have joined us. But it still ended up working out because we ended up meeting both people the 4 people that we wanted to meet. They came up and met us for drinks the one night, and then we had breakfast with them the other night as well. The other morning.
The name of that place is Reader Rock Garden.
Reader Rock Garden, yeah. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, that hotel was awesome, and the restaurant, the food. Like, I have to admit, all the food we had on the trip,
we were very lucky.
Were amazing. We didn't have anything that we say, oh my god, that's not good.
You're right, Mom.
Just that one time, that one truck stop was that there, or was that something else? Was that on that trip? No, it wasn't on that trip.
No,
it was on the way to pick up Lisette. Remember we had
on the way to pick the burger.
Yeah,
the burger from hell.
Yeah, the Licks.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Licks.
No?
It was Hero Burger.
Oh, Hero, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
those 2 girls, yeah.
Yes, we met those 2 girls. Look at that.
So the next day after we left Calgary, we drove to Banff. We actually were staying in Banff one night. On the way, we stopped in Canmore to actually see the town. We also stopped at the curve, the one of the picturesque curves. You'll see it on here. We did also a Johnson Canyon walk, which is a very long.
That was the longest one.
3-kilometer walk uphill, or basically uphill, and then 3 kilometers back. But you know what? We also did the gondola that night in Banff. We went to the hot springs. It was an amazing experience. We definitely want to go back to Banff.
Yeah.
It was one of our favorite places. There were so many things to do that we only scratched the surface on what we saw. We packed a lot in. I won't lie. I'm pretty sure this is Takaka Falls, another stop that we did on the way, which was an amazing waterfall, one of the tallest in Canada.
It's amazing to see these pictures right now because they look like it's been superimposed.
I know.
It doesn't look real.
Yeah.
It does not look like it's real.
But it is.
And we saw deer.
So one of the cool things too, when we were in Banff, we happened to be there at a time where they had an art display, an art gallery display outside in the woods. It's called Art in the Woods. So amongst the trees, they had all of these statues and sculptures and paintings throughout the forest. It was absolutely phenomenal to see. It was so cool. That's the gondola from on top.
And that gondola like was awesome because you go on one peak and then you have a boardwalk that bring you to the other side, to another peak.
Jean-Luc wanted to kill me here.
Yep, I was ready to
As
draw.
As always.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I like these pictures. We haven't seen them in a long time. So it was a lot to see. Like I said, these will all be available. You guys will see them on our blog when I write it all.
Ooh, that was the hotel.
Today was just a way to give you guys kind of a feel of what we did and how we did it. So you'll see more later. The next day, we decided to head to Lake Louise. Again, that's another thing we probably would change. If I were to redo the trip, I would have stayed in Banff 2 days instead of going to Lake Louise, just because Banff felt like and I know people might say
reiterate that, hun. You're saying it incorrectly. We would have still went to Lake Louise.
Yeah,
we just would not have spent the night there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would have went to Banff and spent the night in Banff, 2 nights in Banff, but just drove to Lake Louise, visited.
Because it's close. It's really close to Banff.
Yeah. Look at that.
So the morning of the next morning after we woke up, after we slept in Lake Louise, we woke up and actually had booked a tour early in the morning to go see Lake Louise and Moraine Lake, 2 glacial lakes. They were amazing. The water was so calm,
different colors. The water was different colors.
The colors. Oh, there's our bear.
He was cute.
So it was an amazing experience. The thing is that you have to book tours to go there. So we're glad we figured that out. We didn't realize that till we got there, but I was quick enough to get on my phone and book something. But if you definitely want to do these, make sure you look ahead to book your time slot.
Because they don't allow vehicles to go up to Lake Moraine anymore. You actually have to have a tour to get to Lake Moraine. You could park at Lake Louise, which is very challenging, mind you. But to get out to Lake Moraine, you need to have a tour.
And Moraine Lake is amazing.
Moraine Lake, thank you.
For me, I prefer Moraine Lake than Lake Louise.
Yeah, me too.
They're both nice.
They're both beautiful, but I just like the colors of the other one.
Yeah.
Look at the background.
The weight shape also. The weight shape. Like it's longer than the other one is more round.
Yeah.
It was just an amazing experience to see all this. So if you can ever have a chance to go visit, do it. And these photos don't do justice. I remember standing here I was literally standing in water here taking that photo.
Nick and I walked all the way to the end of a Moraine Lake to get to see where the water actually came in.
Yeah, we turned around because I didn't want to miss the bus.
Look at that.
See ya.
And we were also lucky because there wasn't many people on the lake yet because we had gotten there early. So I would also suggest going there as early as possible. We got to do everything pretty quickly. And our tour was done by noon, and we started our drive.
I am so blowing up a few of these and putting them in our bedroom.
I know. No. So then our drive took us to the next day. We headed to Kelowna. On the way there, we stopped in Golden.
Golden Sky Bridge?
Oh, jeez. Okay. Shut up, Jean-Luc.
We also stopped at Crigsy Creek. So this is Lynn on this was the tallest Spencer Bridge in Canada. So here's Lynn again, being strong. The other thing too that I think we haven't touched on, that we haven't really mentioned, was the drive. Like how amazing was driving all these places. It was
wow.
Yeah.
We changed it though. Oh whoa.
Yeah,
right after.
Oh, there. This picture.
Yeah, he says, "Can you see the sky?" I says, "Yeah." Let's take a picture. I didn't realize there was a sign.
I said, "Can you see the sign?"
I heard the
sky.
Well, you know me, I'm deaf.
So we stopped there on the way. We then made our way to Kelowna. We stayed in Kelowna one night. This is a cool picture too, with my big butt. So
yeah,
there you go. So let's say that was what I was hoping Nick and my picture were gonna look like.
But the problem is
Lynn missed the top.
They didn't check the picture before we walk away. So
we thought,
always.
And he said, "Can you see the sky?" I says, "Yeah."
There's the actual like bridges right here we walked on. So
yeah, you have to walk there, and then to go back. You have to go back on the bridge.
We also
that was a cool place
on a mountain coaster. We went on the roller coaster on the mountain.
That was fun watching. All you can hear them is yelling.
Yeah, we are
fun
coaster
trip.
fans.
And then we also got to see a beautiful sunset in Kelowna.
Oh my God, that was amazing. And that was pure luck.
Yeah, and then he tells us to go see. So they came in the restaurant because we were waiting for them. We didn't know where the hell they were. And then they came in. Oh, we got to go see so the guy thought we were going out without paying because he came after us. He said,
Yeah.
I said, no, we're coming back.
We had some Thai food. It was
That was some
delicious.
really good Thai food. Oh.
See, my mom here was tired.
Looks a little. That was the beginning of the crankiness.
I was getting fed up.
And so we stopped there. The next morning, we woke up. We made our way to Coquitlam.
No, we tried to rent scooters because the entire time we were there, Lisette and Lynn kept going, "Oh, look at these little scooters. You can rent them." And so Nick and I that night almost rented one, which we should have, but we didn't. And we said, we'll do it tomorrow morning with Lisette and with Lynn. It'll be a surprise for them. We'll jump on scooters and go around Coquitlam a lot quicker than having to walk. So we're like, okay. Kelowna, sorry, not Coquitlam. Kelowna, sorry, thank you. So we get up the next morning, we get onto the scooter. Lynn gets on hers. She's scooting around, getting used to it. Nick trying to get his to work. I'm trying to get mine to work. Mom can't get the kickstand off of hers. The hats aren't coming off. We're getting charged for the second. We're finally like, okay, we gave up. We called the company, said we just want to get refunded on whatever we were being charged, and let's go. So we ended up leaving after that.
We got on the road. We made our way to a Soyuz, which is Canada's only desert. It was weird because they had trees there with that we don't see anywhere else sycamore.
Like they have no bark on them or whatever.
It was dry. It was just a different atmosphere than everywhere else we had been, and it was really hot. It was hot that day too. And we also tried to stop at Erickson's Hot Springs, but we decided to not go there. So we also went to the Otello Tunnel.
That was amazing.
Cool. That was neat.
Yeah, that was
old train tunnels that you can actually walk into, and they're not going to be around for long because there's been rock slides recently, so they've actually closed some of the tunnels.
There's some part closed already.
Yeah,
and it is dark black. Pitch black. You cannot see a thing in these tunnels when you're walking in them. Like, this is because of the lights on the phones. It was insane.
Yeah, it was really dark.
It was beautiful.
So then we arrived at Matilda's. So Matilda's was an amazing spot. It was the stop. We were so happy she let us stay there for the entire time we were in BC. She was also a tour guide here in Dennis Bar to a lot of places. We had a great time. We were sleeping in their trailer on the driveway. So we had our own private little camping trip almost. And my mom and Lynn had their own room inside the house. So that got us to Coquitlam. The next day we went to Whistler. In Whistler we went to Jean-Luc, myself and my mom went skydiving.
Zip
lining. We'd also went on the gondola up to the top of
Blackcomb, and Whistler.
Yeah. We also did the peak to peak gondola, went to the Olympic Village. We just got a lot done that morning. On the way home, we also stopped at the Sea to Sky gondola in Squamish. So we try to do as many things as possible because, like I said, this was a once in a lifetime trip. And so we did a lot of different things. Lynn got to see a lot of heights. So I think Lynn's now ready to probably do gondola on her own now because she's done so many times now that.
No, she always go with a friend.
Yeah, just have a friend. And the zip lining, hun. You want to talk about the zip lining?
The zip lining is really, 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 really incredible. There's actually two different types. There's one of them called which is the highest one.
Right?
No, the highest, though it has the Sasquatch game. What's it called? I think it's called Sasquatch. Actually, it's called Sasquatch. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do that one, but we did all the other lines, and it was insane to zip line in the mountains like this. Like, we were going through the trees in the forest, and the tour guides were so cool because they brought us in and they showed us where bears had actually clawed at the trees. So we actually saw bear claws in the trees, which was insane.
And also the lichen that grow on the tree.
Yes, the lichen.
the air is really pure there because it's growing.
Because
there.
lichen is this moss type greenery that grows on trees only on the West Coast, actually, if I'm not mistaken, or where.
And if the air is really clean, because
and if the air is extremely clean.
Yeah, in Vancouver, there's none because
it doesn't grow at all. Yeah.
Like the two girls were really fun to hang with.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fun day. We got to enjoy, things that we never seen. We were tired by the end of this day. This is also when exhaustion started setting for all of us. A lot of the stuff that we had planned to do, we started to cancel.
The three of me, Nick, and Dennis went on a long walk, actually,
in Squamish.
Around in Squamish, actually, that Mom Lisette and Lynn and Matilda didn't do. We actually did an even longer walk through the trees on top of a mountain. It's so funny to go hiking on top of a mountain. It really throws your mind for a loop because you're not on, you're not standing on just regular ground anymore. You're up in the sky.
That's the one we went up like a slanted, and then we went across, right?
Yeah.
The across thing is.
Yeah.
So then the next day we actually went to it was our Vancouver day, so we went to Grouse Mountain first. There was actually bears there, so we got to see some bears. Lynn
Grinder.
We also went to what was the town again, hon? Fort William?
Fort Langley.
Fort Langley for lunch. We got to also see Carol, and so we got to have lunch with her and her puppy. Went to Grouse Mountain. Yeah. And we got to then go up the mountain. Lynn went on a gondola with
that one I was scared because it's
there's
not
her feet right there.
It's closed. Yeah, and then the damn thing stopped in the middle of the freaking thing on the way up.
Both ways.
Both ways.
There she is right here, being brave. It was great to see. Like, we got to see Vancouver from above, which is something I wanted to do. There was some sculptures. There was some axe throwing. There was some a bird show.
Yeah,
that's where I met the deaf people.
Yeah, and this is where we got.
Oh, that's right.
Vancouver from above. This is Vancouver, Victoria. This is Stanley Park. And so, like, this is So this is basically Vancouver area. It was great. Like, I would highly recommend it. And it's actually the local mountain. So, and I found out from Matilda, there's so many mountains we can go up, and there's like we didn't even. Like, there's so many other places we could go, and it was fun. I love being high up in the mountains and seeing the scenery. And it's funny because all of them we got to see different things. It wasn't the same. Like, Banff was a sunset, so seeing a sunset from that vantage point was insane. And then the peak to peak gondola was again something crazy to ever experience. It was just all of them were different in what they offered.
Yeah, there was nothing that was the same. That's the fun part. Like, even though we did like Suspension Bridge, that were all different, and all the falls were all different. Yeah. It's all unique places that we saw.
The next day, we actually headed to Victoria. We took a ferry over to Victoria. We actually had a breakfast with. I'm gonna go a bit. It's almost 8 o'clock, so I'm gonna go a bit faster here. So we went together and met up with a group of people at the Butcher Gardens, or not Butcher Gardens. It was the other park. Just trying to find the group photo.
Down lower.
Down lower?
I thought so.
That's in Victoria Harbor. Oh, right here.
Yeah.
So we had a picnic at a park with a huge group of friends.
Beacon Hill. Thanks, Kelly.
Beacon Hill.
Kelly was there.
I haven't written the blog yet. I was supposed to start today, but I got busy with other stuff. So I was supposed to start writing it today to get me. Yeah, with peacocks roaming around. We got lost for a bit. We had a great lunch there. We then drove to Nanaimo. We went to dinner there. The next day we drove all the way to the west coast of Victoria Island. We went to Long Beach, Tofino,
and we met a surfer who was originally from Stouffville, Ontario. No lie. Yeah. She was coming out of the water, and I bumped into her, and I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're surfing." She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "We're from Ontario." She goes, I used to live in Stouffville."
And then on the way back, we stopped at Cathedral Grove, which you can see how big the trees are, because you can tell Luke and I
down here. Crazy.
Yeah, that was cool.
If I compare those trees to the one we have in Sudbury.
So that was and then that night we took the ferry back home, headed back to Matilda's, and then we flew home. So like I said, this is just a surface of what this trip was. We are going to have a blog which explains in detail what we did, the places we ate, the meals, the hotels we stayed at, so that you guys can possibly do the trip yourselves if you ever want to travel across Canada. On that note, thanks everyone for joining us today. We will be back this week, like I said earlier, so check out the schedule on the website, and we'll hope to see you in Step tomorrow morning. And yes, Mom?
I just want to add, you have to do the trip, a road trip from east to west, not the opposite. Because the scenery is just going up,
It's
up,
better.
up, and up
Gets
and
better
up.
as you go.
Yeah, if you're coming
If you go
this
the
way,
opposite,
it'll
it'll be like, oh. If you go the direct, if you go that way, it's like, oh.
Oh.
Peru agrees.
He's so cute.
So thank you for joining us, everybody, tonight. I'll end the live feed. Have a great week. We'll see some of you tomorrow morning, and we'll talk to you soon.